New York City cabbie Jerry Fletcher, Mel Gibson, is an expert on paranoid conspiracy theories. He's also infatuated with government lawyer Alice Sutton, Julia Roberts, who permits his attention because he once rescued her from a mugging. However, when Jerry is captured and put through a psychotic test by Dr. Jonas, Patrick Stewart, he realizes there is an actual conspiracy. After escaping, Jerry enlists Alice's help, but she wonders whether he has uncovered a real threat or is just insane. Hello everybody and welcome again to another edition of Movie Masters. I'm your host, Movie Master Mike, and I am back and just as mediocre as ever with my review of Conspiracy Theory. This came out August 8th, 1997, directed by Richard Donner. Yes, the Richard Donner who did Superman. And it stars Mel Gibson, Julia Roberts, and Patrick Stewart. And I love Patrick Stewart. I mean, Captain Picard and Professor X doesn't get much better than that. Unless you're Ian McKellen, and then you're Gandalf, Magneto. Nah, Patrick Stewart's probably cooler. Anyway, I love Mel Gibson. Braveheart's one of my all-time favorite movies. I think it's a great movie. But this movie, I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters in 1997. Now, in 1997, I was 10, about to turn 11. And I'm pretty sure I saw this in theaters. I remember seeing it, and I've always kind of remembered it, like certain scenes, like he bit Patrick Stewart's nose, big fields like out in upper state New York or whatever, and his crazy apartment with all the crap everywhere, and Julia Roberts running on a treadmill and he's watching her. I remember those things pretty vividly, but I didn't remember what it was about really. And then I was just browsing through Netflix and I was like, oh, Conspiracy Theory. I'd like to give that a shot. And I was pretty enthralled with it. Like I didn't want to stop watching it. And it's a pretty long movie. It's 2 hours and like 15 minutes, I think. But it was really good. I mean, Mel Gibson does a really good job of being a nut job. Like, this guy is crazy. He's constantly talking to himself and like stuttering and saying the same thing over and over again. And I worked with a guy who was kind of like that. And Mel Gibson plays it pretty well. So, I mean, he's a pretty believable weirdo. And Julia Roberts, I don't think I've ever really seen anything that Julia Roberts is in. I might have watched Erin Brockovich once, but I've never seen My Best Friend's Wedding or whatever that movie is, or Pretty Woman. Like, I've never seen that. The only thing I really know her from is Friends. She was in an episode of Friends. And but I don't really know her that well. I mean, I know like it's like her brother or something was in The Dark Knight, and her niece is in that show American Horror Story, and she was in, which I've never seen, but I have seen Scream 4, which she was in. But overall, this movie was pretty good. The production quality was really bad. I mean, it's 1997. The Lost World is coming out. It has already come out. I'm watching Star Trek right now, The Next Generation, and the production quality on that show from 87 to 94 is so much better than this movie. This movie looks like it was made in the early 90s, but it wasn't. It was 97. Like, it's incredible how bad it is. I mean, it's not like super bad. It doesn't look like the first Ninja Turtles or anything, but for 1997, it looked pretty bad, pretty grainy, pretty like muted colors. But I liked it. I missed the 90s. I love the fact that there was like no special effects in this movie. Like, just like in the plot summary, it says that he's captured and psychotic drugs are given to himself, and he's tripping out, and everything looks all weird, but it's all just like old school effects, like nothing fancy. But it was really good. The supporting cast is just other actors I've never heard of, never seen. Julia Roberts does a good job. She only likes the guy like in the plot summary because like she was rescued by him, but he's crazy, but she kind of like goes along with it. You can tell that she kind of likes him, but not really. And but he's obviously in love with her. He says so as much throughout the movie. And it takes a really weird twist. Like, she's just warming up to him, and then they have to escape from his house, his apartment, and they go into like this sub-level, which was weird, but he has this huge mural, and it has like her riding a horse, because in the movie she rode horses, and then she stopped. You find out it's because she stopped because her dad was killed, and she kind of blames herself, and so she never did that again. And But then she's like, "Why did you have this giant mural of me on the horse? Like, how do you know so much about me? What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh no, like they're at her apartment." He says something about um, she runs away from her father's picture on her treadmill, and she's like, he's like, "Sometimes you sing along to the music." She's like, "What do you mean I sing along to the music? Like, did you watch me?" Like, she freaks out, and then it looks like he killed her father, so she kind of hates him. But then it turns out he didn't, and so they start working again together. But overall, a really cool movie. Like, he eludes the cops in really creative ways. He has her elude the cops in creative ways. Like, he's so paranoid that he doesn't go to his apartment the same way twice. Like, he goes up the fire escape, and then he goes down the flight of stairs in case people see him coming into the building. Then he goes back up and all kinds of stuff. And he doesn't carry his key with him. He has it like hanging up near his apartment. And he has to unlock his refrigerator, then unlock his can of beans or whatever, and like just so so paranoid. But when she starts working with the feds and stuff, for some reason they don't put a wire on her. They put a wire under a pizza that he had delivered to her, and in the note said like, go downstairs and meet me and bring the pizza. And so they put it under the pizza, which was stupid. But it's at the point where she thinks that he killed his father or her father. But she goes down there, and then they're driving, and they're about to go on a bridge. Like the bridges in New York are there's different levels, and they're on a lower level, so the helicopter can't see them. The cars that are tailing them are too far back, and but he kind of figures out that they're being followed, so he just stops in the middle of traffic. They cross the street on the bridge, get into a car that was jacked up, like it was being worked on, like it broke down on the bridge. And then they go the opposite way, go back to the city. And she says like, "Oh, like we're going to Queens," because she knows that there's a wiretap. And he's like, "What?" But he says like, because his memory is really bad. He knows all these things, but he can't remember. So he says, "We need to go to a place where like the music is louder, like you can hear the music." Is his metaphor for it. And so she says, "Oh, like and there's music in Queens, 'cause that's where the bridge was going." And he's like, "Well, not today." And then they stop and they go back to the city, and then they actually go to Connecticut. Which was was just a cool way to. He had that car planted there in case he had to turn around to, get rid of the tails. Like it was really cool. Then he has her like, get on a bus, and he knew the tails were there, so he like chained like a hot dog stand to the back of the Fed's car. So when they turned, like it was wreaking havoc, so they had to stop and deal with that. It was pretty cool. It was really smart. But at one point, like when they're in his apartment. She sees that he has Catcher in the Rye. Like there's like dozens of copies, she says there's you have like a dozen copies here. Like he's like, well, there's more under the bed and more over there, and he like breaks down and starts crying like about how he has to buy one at the end of the day. He's like, oh, if I see a copy, I have to buy one, and if I don't see a copy, I have to go out and look for one. And that's actually how the feds find him at one point. Is they know he's obsessed with his books for some reason, and when one is sold. They go looking for him. Another cool chasing where he has to go to a movie theater, and they're looking for him in there. So he screams like, "There's a bomb! There's a bomb!" So everyone's rushing out, and so it's pretty cool. But then you kind of find out that the movie turns, and instead of like conspiracy theory, it becomes like the Bourne Identity, where Patrick Stewart like made all these like assassins, and he was one of them. Then he fled. And he disappeared, so they've been kind of like following him, but like it was like I was like, oh, that was weird. I don't remember that. Like he made assassins, and like he was supposed to kill Julia Roberts' dad, but then he couldn't because he saw Julia Roberts and fell in love with her. So another assassin killed him, and but overall, it was a really enjoyable movie. Besides from the production quality, because like it looks like it was from like 1992 when it was 1997. So I mean, it was just kind of weird. But I would totally recommend this. If I don't really do a star rating, but I would give this at least 6.5, 7 stars. Like I really enjoyed it. I love thriller movies like this. So like, I could be biased, but I enjoyed it. I haven't seen it in almost 20 years. 18 years since it came out, but. I would totally recommend you check this movie out. It's on Netflix, so if you don't own it or somebody who owns it, then you can always find it there. So I totally recommend that you check it out. It's a pretty fun movie, and I love thrillers, like, where there's twists and turns and stuff. It was pretty cool. And that's all I have to say. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on this channel. And tune in next time when I do a review of something else. My brother and I are doing the animated Batman movies. We just did Batman Mystery of the Batwoman, and I'm pretty sure The Batman versus Dracula is next, which he's not looking forward to because it sounds stupid. But I liked the show and I liked this movie, or the movie, if I remember correctly. I haven't watched it in a few years, but so tune in next time when we do that and other movies, just random movies that I happen to watch and do a review on. Until then, I'm your host, Movie Master Mike, reminding you to speak your geek and bounce your geek. It's Geekquilibrium.